Alright YouTube, how's it going? It's me, Alec. Thank you for stopping by as always, and today I bring you a video where I'm going to be talking to you guys about the new Naruto Shippuden episode 476. I just finished watching 476. I will be moving on to 477 in a little bit, but I'm just gonna give you guys my opinion about this episode, and of course, it's an episode everybody's been waiting for, and it's Sasuke versus Naruto. And I don't know, man, I got the chills because, you know, as soon as it started fighting, it showed them as little kids whenever they were in training in ninja school. And before anything started, you saw Neji. Right off the bat, you see Neji tell Naruto that, he had a flashback of when they were kids, and Neji told him, you know what, sometimes your eyes work better than mine, and Neji obviously has the Byakugan, and he can almost see anything, almost like if he had a Sharingan. Anyway, so what he meant was like how, Naruto can see the wrong in Sasuke, he can see him through the darkness, and he's trying to be a good friend and obviously save him from taking the wrong route in life. And Neji didn't really care, Neji was one of the ones that said, if it's a decision, whatever, but he had to go because it was a mission, so he was pretty much forced. If not, he wouldn't really care. If he wanted to be a traitor, then Neji would have let him, rock and just do his own thing. But that's why he said it, because Naruto had, he can see, in other words, he can see the wrong in that, and he's trying to save him, and Neji couldn't really see the wrong in that. I mean, obviously he knew it was wrong for Sasuke to leave Konoha, but obviously he didn't really care, so he wasn't able to see the real darkness or the real wrong in it, I guess you can say. And of course, Naruto and Sasuke had their talk, and then Sasuke's pretty much explaining his idea of a Hokage, or the Hokage he wants to be. He's pretty much trying to fall into Itachi's steps. He's trying to be like his big brother. He's trying to protect the village from the shadows, from where people don't really see it, and he said he's prepared to take another burden like his brother did. He doesn't care if the village hates him, the whole world hates him. He said he can carry that. He can carry on with it. He's the only one, and he's the only one that can do it. So that's his idea of being a Hokage. Once again, he wants to be like Itachi. He wants to take care of the village from the outside, from the darkness, from the shadows, just like Itachi did. And he wants to pretty much live a life like Itachi. But then, obviously, Naruto is telling him, you don't know nothing of what Itachi lived like, so and so on, because Itachi had an encounter with Naruto in the past, and he pretty much explained to him what was going on, and what to do with Sasuke, and he pretty much just told him, you know what, I leave Sasuke to you, And that's why Naruto is even more motivated and dedicated to taking Sasuke out of the darkness to, I guess, guide him into the right direction, which is obviously something Itachi would want. Now, I like how the fight started. It was all taijutsu. They started throwing kicks and punches at each other, and obviously since they're doing that really fast and connecting, they can't really weave hand signs to do any kind of jutsu, and it was almost like the Obito and Kakashi fight. It was all taijutsu, and of course they used the same thing like they did in the Obito and Kakashi fight, where Sasuke used Naruto's hands to weave a hand sign, and I believe it was a fire style fireball jutsu, because I remember once Sasuke was done using Naruto's hand, a fireball just came out of nowhere, so I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And I don't know, it's really cool because obviously he knew there's that option for him to use someone else's hand to weave certain hand signs to do a jutsu. He obviously didn't wait to say with Obito and Kakashi, he just somehow knew, and that was pretty cool. Now, since they were on the top of Hashirama and Madara statues, they were obviously fighting, and then Naruto caught a break. He was falling down towards the water at the end of the waterfall down below, and he was able to weave hand signs and perform the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Once he was at the bottom, he pretty much threw all of the Shadow Clones up the Hashirama and Madara statues, and once they reached up there, they continued their fights, and within one of the Shadow Clone Jutsu, it was actually Naruto. I was expecting something like, all these Shadow Clones fighting Sasuke, and Naruto was just watching from a distance, but actually he was in that fight, which is obviously fair, because obviously it's Sasuke versus Naruto, so he has to pretty much be there. But I was just thinking, maybe, he's going to destroy these Shadow Clones, and in the end, you're just going to see Naruto on top of Hashirama's head, just looking at him, saying something, and they continue their fights. That's just what I thought. Now, I really love that portion of the fights, because it kept it somewhat old school, especially when Sasuke used, I believe, a kunai and some wire to get towards Naruto instead of just flying. It was something like that you would see back then, when Shippuden was barely starting, or in Naruto, that kind of stuff, taijutsu, and obviously the Sharingan and Rasengan involved. But then they stepped it up to the big boys league, and Sasuke used his Susanoo, and obviously Naruto used his nine-tail cloak, and with the sage mode type of deal. And I don't know, it obviously went from what it used to be to what it is now. These big boss fights, this crazy jutsus, this just this mind-blowing stuff, because you gotta admit, Shippuden took a turn to like something crazy. It was all mind-blowing after that. Just big destructions, it was big everything. And then between that fight, I have to say it was my favorite moment of this episode. Obviously, I love the fights. I love the whole episode, you know, just to throw it out there. But this was my favorite part because they had a flashback of when they were little kids. They were young. And obviously it was a sunset. Sasuke was sitting by a lake just watching the water. And Naruto was, you know, obviously walking along. I don't know where he was going. But I like that because it's the sunset. It's the end of the day. And in the end of the day, they had no one to go to. Obviously, all of their friends had their families to go to. Not just that, but their teachers had their families to go to. Everybody had someone to go to or something to do at the end of the day when the sun was setting down. But obviously, Sasuke was just sitting there alone and sad because he had no one to go to. He obviously had a home, but he would just go there to sleep. And even if he went home, it would probably be even worse because he would just have flashbacks of his family in that home. So he was just sitting there watching the water just go by, and Naruto obviously walked by him. He was walking along and saw Sasuke, but I like it how Naruto was being able to see things from Sasuke's point of view from that time. And Sasuke was able to see things from Naruto's point of view in that time. So that, you know, that was like, dang, that's sad. You know, because they noticed that both of them were like the same. They had no one to go to. They were alone, and it just really sucked. And you know, they played sadness and sorrow, and it just made it even better. You know, that moment was crazy, in my personal opinion. And after that, we see something similar to when Obito was like the sage of Sixth Path, and Naruto was talking to him about what an idea of Hokage is. And I don't know if you guys remember that, but the background looked like they were in another dimension, like in space. You see stars, shooting stars, and it can be for background purpose, or they can actually be in another dimension, talking within each other's minds. And we saw that again here with Sasuke versus Naruto, the final fight. They were, you know, in some like time dimension, and you see like stars, and you know, I don't know if they were speaking within each other's minds. That's why it looks like that, or I don't know if it's just for a background purpose. I could be 100% wrong. Let me know in the comments. But obviously Naruto just pretty much explained to him, you can't go on like this in life, you have to stop. And obviously Sasuke like always being stubborn, no, I have to do this, and so on and so on. And before all of this, Sasuke had done the plant devastation where he trapped all the tail of the beast inside these like meteor rocks, or like, I don't know, I just want to say meteors, and he trapped them in there. And the episode ends with him summoning them towards him. You know, and I'm gonna go on to the next episode so I can tell you guys my opinion of the next episode of the final fight. Alright, so I just finished watching Naruto Shippuden episode 477, and let me tell you, things got brutal. So we left off within Sasuke summoning all these like meteors within inside of these like rock meteor things. The tail beasts were trapped in there, so he pretty much used all of their chakra to make this crazy ultimate Susanoo, where it looked like it was a being made out of like Chidori lightning, and then the Susanoo was its armor. So that itself was really cool. Now that this happened, Naruto obviously had to step up his game. What he ended up doing was using shadow clones of the Nine-Tailed Cloak, and you know, you don't really see this, but there was one hidden, you know, like when Naruto would hide, you know, another of his shadow clones while doing Sage mode, and you know, I don't know where he gets strong because he had like this type of Nine-Tailed Cloak that was performing the Sage mode just by himself there, and then Sasuke himself says that out of nowhere he gains all of this natural energy, obviously it being Sage mode, and then you get all of these shadow clones of the Nine-Tailed Cloak all combined into one. It has like three faces, and it's just one body and a bunch of tails and arms, and you know, it's just even stronger. And within not just having the Nine-Tailed chakra, you also have that like Sage mode, which was really cool as well. After all of this, they're pretty much at the point where they're running out of chakra, so they can't do much. They have to rely on taijutsu. It's all just human strength from now on. Now from this point on, like I said, it's really brutal. It's all just taijutsu. You can see these punches are coming in hard. These kicks, their faces are getting bruised. They're losing blood, and you can see the blood going everywhere. And I believe Sasuke lost a tooth because Naruto just hit him really good on the chin, and one of his teeth just went flying. You can see it just hit the ground and then start rolling. And you know, they keep going at it. And the way they made this episode was for everybody to understand and see how all of these punches, you know, were really hard. You know, like I told you guys, they were brutal. It was a brutal fight. And they're just pretty much fighting to the end. You know, it's just about who's gonna give up first. Now what I really like about like how they made the fight was not that they just connected with really hard punches and they fell on their butts. No, once they connected punches, they went flying. You know, they went flying a couple feet in the air, a couple feet away from each other, and you know, obviously you can tell that those punches have just extreme strength for them to go flying. So I really like the way they did that. Now they're getting to a point where they're becoming tired, they're becoming exhausted, and you see Sasuke get on top of Naruto, Naruto, and Sasuke just starts landing punches after another, right on Naruto's face. And Naruto, you can see how after every punch, he just gets weaker and weaker. His hands just, you can kind of see how they're getting loose, and he's just taking the punches. He's just like, he can't do much. Sasuke's using the last of his strength to land all these punches at his face, and Naruto is just like looking at him while he's taking the punches, and I don't know, that's just crazy. Now at this point, it looks like Sasuke's about to finish Naruto. It looks like that's gonna be the end of the fight. It looks like Sasuke's about to win, because like I said, Naruto's just there laying, taking punches after punches from Sasuke, and out of nowhere, you see Naruto grab Sasuke from this shirt and just headbutt him really hard, and Sasuke goes flying. Now remembering that, who was it that lost the tooth? Was it Sasuke or Naruto? I couldn't really tell. I did go back and watch it, but it doesn't really show you. I feel like it's Sasuke, or it could be Naruto, but let me know in the comment down below, please. I really want to know. I want to say it's Sasuke. Now we get to the part where all of their punches and kicks are, pretty weak. They're nothing like what they were when, they had somewhat strength. They're all weak, and they're just exhausted. They can't go on any longer, but it's just this will of them to keep on fighting to see in the end who actually is a victor. Then Sasuke has had enough. He plans to just finish Naruto off. He's just like tired. He says that it's a thing that goes on and on and on and repeats itself, and Naruto just doesn't give up. And that's crazy about Naruto, how he has this will of never giving up. He keeps going on and on and on no matter what. So Kurama pretty much notices what Sasuke is planning, so he tells Naruto that he's gonna give him the last of his chakra and to pretty much use all of it at the last minute. And he has all these flashbacks of when Naruto was just about to go try to save Sasuke, and he just pretty much said, how are you so confident that you're gonna be able to do it if you can't even save him as of now? And then he just remembers how Naruto told Kurama that he was gonna go after all that evil inside of him, and it kind of hit him in the feels because he noticed that Kurama somewhat changed because of the way Naruto treated him. It kind of hit me in the feels too, because if you think about it, how Kurama would never really help out Naruto. He didn't really like Naruto. He always thought of him as a brat, and Naruto would be the one always talking and trying to tell Kurama, what's gonna happen and whatnot. And Kurama was just there with his eyes closed, like I told you guys, always stubborn, being kind of mean to him. And if you think about it now, he actually gave Naruto a game plan. That's crazy. Naruto was happy. He wasn't really saying anything because he's tired, he's beat up, and all he does is put up his fist so they can pound it as a team, which was really cool. Now the way this episode ends is by Sasuke and Naruto clashing into each other. I don't know if you guys remember, but Naruto would have shadow clones help him form the Rasengan, and this time, in this episode, the way he formed the Rasengan, as you can see in the episode, it was by the help of everybody in the village. It was some kind of like spiritual or mental thing. You can see everybody's hands, all of his friends' hands forming the Rasengan, and they see Jiraiya's, and the end, the final hands, you see Minato's and his mom's helping form the Rasengan. I really like the way they did that. So right behind them, it was the whole village, and right behind Sasuke, it was like Itachi, Danzo, all of this dark stuff that he had to go through in his life. Now everything around them gets destroyed, such as the Hashirama and Madara statue, the waterfall, everything is just pretty much obliterated. And if you guys don't know this, big spoiler, you guys should probably just click out of this video and you guys will just watch it whenever it comes out. But as soon as they clash and everything explodes, you see Naruto and Sasuke laying there, and each of them have one of their arms missing, because obviously the Rasengan and Chidori, when they clashed, it was just so much energy and force that just blew up their arms as well. And it doesn't really show you this in the episode, but it just ends with a black screen that says Naruto and Sasuke, and I was like, dang. That's crazy. Then in conclusion, I really love both of these episodes. I love the fights. I don't know, everything was great. I loved every single little part. I guess the highlight would be when they were little kids, and each one of them saw each other's point of view from that day. I'm not saying that was the best part out of the whole fight, but I just feel like that was one of the highlights. But like I said, I enjoyed the whole fight as a whole. Alright guys, well, make sure to like this video. If you like it, leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions or any comments. And also guys, make sure to subscribe to keep up with my videos, and I'll talk to you guys on my next video.